In a world hungry for change, nonprofit impact matters more than ever. But too often, you're asked to do more with less. Less time, fewer resources, and tools that weren't built for the way nonprofits work. Bloomerang is the giving platform built for purpose, connecting fundraising, donor, and volunteer data in one intuitive place. With smarter insights and stronger relationships, you can raise more, retain more, and inspire more generosity because your tools are built for a purpose and your mission goes further. Learn more at bloomerang.com. Welcome to the Purpose and Profit Club podcast for nonprofit leaders, mission-driven creatives, and social entrepreneurs. Get ready to stop dreaming and start doing. Here, ideas become action. We prioritize purpose and profit. You ready? Let's go. All right, friends, we are here recording live at GiveCon for the Purpose and Profit Club podcast. And I'm so excited to welcome back to the podcast my client, my friend, Penn Street. Penn, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
I know. We're like on the stage right now. We are just ready to dig in. First, I think let's just start for our listeners. Tell us about your work at Aftersight.
Absolutely. I'm the Development and Outreach Director for a nonprofit. We cover all of Colorado, and we bring print to life for people who are blind or low vision that they don't have access to if it wasn't for what we do. And we've been around for 35 years. And I was actually a listener. We don't call our listeners clients. We call them listeners. And for decades. And it really impacted my life, especially when I ran for city council. And I needed to have access to all of my local news and the surrounding towns. And there was, I'm blind, low vision, and I didn't have access to newspapers. So I really leaned into Aftersight to educate me and know what was going on. And then COVID hit. And like a lot of us, I was out of a job, and this was another blind friend told me about this position, and I was like, oh man, going full circle, right? And so it was pretty brutal process of getting hired. There was a lot of competition, as you can imagine, during COVID, but they chose me, which I'm excited. So I just had my 5th anniversary 2 days ago, so yeah.
And you're also a podcaster yourself.
I am.
We were sitting here with the blind chick. Find her on the podcast. I was telling her I was listening to it this morning, and it's her and her husband.
Yes.
It's such a good podcast. So tell us about the blind chick.
Thank you.
And 200 plus episodes in, you've been doing it.
We have, and I never thought I would be a podcaster.
Yeah.
If somebody had told me that was in my future, I would have laughed no way. But when I started at Aftersight, they had a fledgling, struggling podcast in the past, and they wanted to bring it back. It was called Community Conversations, which is not a sexy name at all for a podcast.
Yep.
But I just started interviewing basically my blind friends.
Yep.
But I ran out of friends, so we luckily were able to hire a podcast producer. But I really, from almost day one, I wanted it to be a platform for blind and low vision people to have a place they could tell their stories, their struggles, what they've overcome, their celebrations, resources and services that work, didn't work, technology, and it really, we were looking for a new name, and because I really didn't like Community Conversations. And on social media, I've been known as the blind chick for quite a while. And I know some people don't like the word chick, but
you get to decide.
I own it. I am a chick, and I'm proud. But yeah, I've interviewed so many amazing, beautiful humans all over the world, and I learned so much from them. Doing a podcast, you get way more out of it than you put in.
It's such a gift.
It is.
Yeah.
I love all of them. They feel like family. I've become very good friends with some of them. So I love it.
One of the things that separates your organization from a lot of other nonprofits. But what's also interesting is I can think of several organizations I work with that have podcasts. Like it's happening.
It is.
It's happening that
it's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
That nonprofits are having podcasts. And your podcast is one sort of under the Aftersight umbrella.
Yes.
And there's many more.
Yes. And we're growing.
About how many would you say?
Right now we have 5. We just launched the 6th one, like literally last week.
And it's such an awareness and visibility tool. We're going to talk about how that relates to fundraising today.
Yes.
We're going to talk about just kind of overall that brand strategy. I think it's so smart.
Yeah.
So I love the way that Aftersight, being a 30 plus year old organization,
35 over
has
35 now.
evolved and iterated.
Yes, you have to. If you don't, you're going to die. I heard a fact over this last couple of days at the GiveCon is that the average nonprofit lasts 7 years.
Yeah.
So for Aftersight to have made it through 35 plus, it's because they're willing to be innovative. They're willing to change. They're to pivot when needed. And if you're not going to make it.
You have willing to use technology.
Yes.
And willing to go, okay, the thing that we used to do that was essential has shifted or has changed, or our audience needs something different, or versus saying like, we know nothing about podcasting. Podcasting is for, I don't know, celebrities or whatever.
When Aftersight started, they were literally created like cassette tapes, and we would mail, I wasn't there at the time, but they would literally mail them out. And if they were lucky, people would mail them back, and we would fill them up again and send them out. So to go from that to every single one of our platforms now is on Spotify and Amazon and anywhere you can get podcasts. So, and then even what you're listening to, you can get it, on your smart speaker now. Versus, these kind of old-timey machines.
Yes. So let's dig into with Aftersight.
Yeah.
What's changed in the past year? Like I've seen a lot of growth.
Thanks to you.
What's working?
Well, when my executive director had heard about your program, I'll be honest, I was like, hell, I don't know if I can cuss, but hell no. We're not spending that kind of money. We don't have that kind of money. And but when Kim described it, and then I got to meet you, and I said, we have to do something different. This was an org before I came on that had never, ever fundraised. It was all grants. And the new executive director, Kim, knew, she saw the writing on the wall. We needed to diversify, and that's why they hired me. And so I met you and, looked you up. I did my research.
Fair.
I stalked you for a little while, and then realized, like, okay, it's an investment. And I also loved how it wasn't just me. You got 3 seats, so my coworker and my executive director could be part of this journey. And the very first campaign I did was $20K in 20 days. Our board was like, no, we cannot do this. We really had to change not only our org and the way we looked at fundraising. We had to change our community
and how they looked
to be donors because they had never donated. And so for you, when you ask me, you have to email everybody. You have to email them over and over and over and over in this 20-day period. I did. I gave up. I was like, it's in the hands of Christina.
You're very coachable in that way, which is like, it's key versus resisting it, right? Of just being like, I'm going to follow the course, right? Yes.
Well, and I'm a very big believer. If I hire somebody, I trust them. You know more about this than I do. That's why I'm paying you.
Right.
I'm a big believer in that. And so I trusted your process, and we exceeded the goal. And that was, everything exploded after that. Now we're looking at other ways. I learned, just being here, I've learned out some different ways of looking at campaigns and what's possible. And It's making my job so much more exciting. I'm sorry. I mean, I like writing grants, but it is lonely. It's boring. Occasionally you'll get one that's innovative, but not very often. But fundraising can actually be fun.
And it can be connecting.
It is.
Yeah.
I know so much more about the people in our database than I ever knew before. And trusting the technology, because you mentioned that. Because again, when I came on, we had a database, but it wasn't usable.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So you had a database, wasn't usable.
Yeah.
You were using it as best you could.
As best I barely.
What wasn't usable about it? Like,
it was pretty much a glorified Excel sheet.
got it. Okay.
And so keep any type of organization with it and make it fluid was almost impossible. So I was really familiar with Salesforce. In my last nonprofit, I was the Salesforce guru. But nobody on my team liked it. They didn't even really want to learn how to use it. It's a beast if you've ever used it. And it is a great platform if you use it and know how to use it. But I was fighting with them all the time. And so the data wasn't getting put in. The data wasn't being followed. And so it was almost like, well, here we now have another useless
tool no one wants to log into.
Exactly.
It's one of those, I call it like you log in and all you want to do is log back out.
Exactly.
Of the tension and the overwhelm where you're like,
Yeah. And so you told us about Bloomerang. And eyes rolled, and it's like, oh, Penn's going to introduce us to yet another CRM. But I really looked into it, and they were great. Their staff was wonderful, customer service. And I love how it's segmented. And the minute you get on, it seems intuitive and friendly. And unlike Salesforce, you open it up and you look like you need a degree to move forward. And so our volunteer coordinator, actually she's a volunteer manager now.
Nice.
She loves it. The rest of the staff, and it's completely ADA compliant. So with my low vision, I use a mixture of voiceover as well as magnification. One of my coworkers, he's 100% blind, so he uses voiceover on everything.
Nice.
And Evan said it was the first time ever we've had a CRM that he could actually get into and not only look at data, but also add data and use the data that's in there.
Yes, so that we can all work towards this goal together versus just it's all on you in this other database.
Exactly.
I think one of the challenges I hear sometimes when you look at your tech stack is like, but we're on this tech tool and the dread of the migration, the dread of the change, the dread of the whatever. It sounds to me that you were at a point where it was like, I can't be the only one on Salesforce. We got to make a change.
It was exhausting. I was doing other people's jobs because they were overwhelmed with it. And it was honestly faster for me to go in and do it versus continue to teach them again how to do it.
So what was that migration process like? I think you just finished it, or
we just literally within the last few days. That was again, Bloomerang really stepped up. We explained our situation, and yes, I could have done the migration, but it would have taken me away.
That. So I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she was talking about her constituents, her email subscribers. It's sort of a mix, donors, non-donors. They live in 3 different places, depending on 3 different reasons she inherited, right?
Yes.
And so I'm like, they don't have to. She's like, yeah. And then I would have to clean them up. Some of them don't have phone numbers. Some of them have, all the things. And then I'll have to figure out how to, and I was like, you don't. You can hire somebody who's, that's their favorite thing to do.
Yes.
Don't learn how, that's not a skill you should go meet with the donor. You should go, that's a skill to hire out. But I think there's this tension sometimes in the well, if I technically could, I should.
But it takes you away from why they hired you in the first place.
Right.
I'm supposed to raise money for this incredible organization so that we can feel connected with our community and fill gaps
Yep.
that would really impact negatively our community if we weren't there doing that. And that's my job. And that's what I'm really good at it. And yes, I'm good at, migrating data from one CRM to another. I've done it many times.
Yep.
But Bloomerang was like, gave us a deal we couldn't refuse.
Like, let's do this.
And I'm like, you're hired.
I feel like there's something to be said for like speed.
Yeah.
And that it's a worthy investment, whether it's this or something else, for that speed, so that you and I can hop on a coaching call.
Yes.
And I can ask you to pull something that you now can pull very quickly that you couldn't before.
Exactly.
That would have taken you months because it's not easily available. Yeah. It's not accessible. And it's not just like the cost of hiring the person to migrate you, it's the speed, like the value in that of like, now we can just run with it.
Exactly. You don't have to wait.
Yeah.
Because the waiting costs money, which I need to make.
I always tell my clients, like, I am impatient. Like, I'm an impatient person. And I think that that's a superpower. Like, be impatient. Like, it shouldn't, what we do, the people we serve, I want to be impatient about like helping them sooner, impacting them sooner, not like we'll figure it out in like hundreds and hundreds of years.
I agree.
Like, let's go.
Yeah, Aftersight, we started a white cane project.
Yeah.
A white cane is extremely important in our community. And I'm that way. And the whole Bloomerang transition is going to help with that.
Yeah.
Speeding that up is when somebody orders a white cane, they don't wait until, it's not like, well, next Christmas, I hope Santa brings me a white cane. They need it today.
Yep.
And it's a tool that especially if you're totally blind, or it's a tool you rely on, you need it immediately. And so when people order a white cane, they need it then. And so I don't want it to take weeks to go through a system, weeks to get ordered.
Yep.
And I want that cane in their hands within a day or two.
And that like fire is what makes fundraising easier, right? When you have like that fire, right?
Yeah.
Because you touched on the white cane, let's talk a little bit about the blind and low vision community.
Yeah.
I think that we have a lot of listeners who may not be that familiar.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the things you wish we knew. Tell us everything.
We are freaking amazing. That's what you need to know.
That's right.
And the blind and low vision community, we are kind of sort of this anomaly. There's been studies that showed that surveys that have been taken that people would rather die, have cancer, all these other horrific end-of-life things happen to them versus losing their vision. And which is surprising to me because I've been low vision since I was 9. It's like, what are they talking about?
That like hurts in my throat to hear you say that. Do you know what I mean?
It's like true. Like the unemployment rate and underemployment rate for the blind community in a good economy is over 70%. 70%.
Wow.
And we are the most educated community in the United States. And it's because we stay in school absolutely as long as possible because we know that getting hired it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And I have been somebody that has been working pretty much full time since I was like 12 when I babysat. Yes. Sighted people trusted me with their children to babysit them, and they came out okay. But I knew as a kid that I wanted to work in a nonprofit environment.
Yep.
Because when I lost my vision, there were incredible organizations that came out of the woodwork that I didn't even know existed. That guided my parents. They helped my parents, they helped my teachers. And so growing up, I saw this. And so I wanted to be on that other side. I wanted to be the mentor. I wanted to be the person that helped that next generation. And we can do absolutely anything, and we can literally say that now because there's the car. We can drive our own cars now. It's not on the cusp anymore. It's actually happening. I just met a young woman who is a blind pilot.
What?
Yeah. So they used to say you can do anything when you're blind except drive a car or fly a plane. That's off now. One of my really good friends was the first person who summited Mount Everest. So we can do absolutely anything. We just need the opportunity and we need the tools. And especially today, the tools now are actually not any more expensive than getting the tools for you, Christina, to do your job. The phones now out of the box, you go to Apple, they talk because sighted people love talking things now, which you guys keep doing that because you make the price come down for us.
I was about to say, we probably have a lot of overlap in the tools we use.
Absolutely.
I talk a lot about how when I'm using ChatGPT or Claude, I love to voice.
Yes.
So it's talking to me, I'm talking back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's faster than I can type a lot of the times. And so,
Yeah, and it's scientifically been proven that blind people, we use more of our brain than sighted people. It's because we have to. We show up early, we stay late because we know that job that we have is a gift. And we have to do it better and we have to be more successful than our other coworkers. And I love my job. I love all the jobs I've ever had. They've all been stepping stones to get me to where I am today. So.
Quick pause before we jump back in. We just hit a huge milestone on the podcast. 200 episodes of fundraising, messaging, psychology, leadership, growing your impact without burning out. If you found this show helpful to write the next email, make the next ask, rethink a campaign, or just keep going when fundraising felt heavy, would you leave me a quick rating and review? It helps more nonprofit listeners find the show, and it tells me what's landing with you. I read every review, and I'm so grateful you're here. All right, back to the episode. So let's transition, and we're going to talk a little bit about, you have this listenership across your podcasts, and 5 or 6 others. You've had a lot of high-profile guests, amazing guests. And one of the things we're working on this year, and I think we're both like mutually very excited about, is this idea of email lead magnets. So bringing people over from a listener, from a subscriber, over to their email list. And the reason why we want to do that is we want to bring them over to your email list. You can nurture them, and then we can run a campaign,
Yeah, exactly.
So talk to me about what we're working on.
So Christina said, well, so Penn, the blind chick could be like Oprah, like your top 10, summer fun
favorite things. Yes.
And I was like,
we were talking about a series that she could do.
And again, we never looked at our podcast as assets.
It is an asset.
And we never looked at it that way until you and I started talking, and it's true.
It is an asset we could do sponsorships for. Yeah,
exactly. It's a fundraising platform in itself, and so we got together as a team and talked about this. And I think my podcast producer thought we were crazy, but he's on board now.
Good.
But we're going to do. We picked out the top 5 podcasts of all of our podcasts. And so we're going to start pushing it out and advertising it wherever we possibly can, on social media, emails, of course, on the podcasts themselves, and say, go here if you would like to receive the list.
That's right. And it's like the curated list of the best episodes.
Yes. And then it's going to be simple. We just need their first name, last name, email, period. Because we want it quick and easy. And then, of course, there'll be an opt-in that they will, get more information from us, because Aftersight has been around for so long that a lot of our people in our database have been in there a long time.
That's right.
And so we're going through that process of cleaning up our database.
Yep.
Well, we need fresh meat, right?
That's right.
We need
Top of funnel.
We do.
Need new prospects, right?
And even our podcast guests.
Yes.
Again, we never looked at them as an asset. But they are, because a lot of them are really well known.
Yep.
They have deep pockets.
Yep.
And they were willing or even asked to come on our podcast. So they're already invested, or else they wouldn't have been.
Yes, they wouldn't have associated
in the first place.
their brand with your brand unless there was like that connection and alignment. 100%.
Exactly. And we've seen with our podcasts, and particularly The Blind Chick, is several of our guests have gone on to do these amazing, they finished their book and now they're doing really well as an author.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be circling back around to them too during this campaign, so that come back on, tell us where, what you're doing now. How's the book going? Are you writing a new one?
That's right.
Or an album? We have lots of musicians that come on. And so it's really, it's just so exciting.
Yeah. I think when you have, whether it's an engaged group of people, whether they're podcast listeners, whether they're volunteers, whether they just live somewhere else, but they don't live in your database yet. They're not yet donors, and they don't live in your email list because they're not yet subscribers. That's the link that a lead magnet fills, is what is something I can offer that they will put in their email in exchange for. And I know that there are a lot of organizations listening that are like, okay, but we don't have a podcast. I'm like, okay, but you definitely have some sort of lead magnet, 100%.
Yeah. And it can be anything that relates to...
Could be a caregiver's guide to something.
Yeah, it could be a joke of the day. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is.
That's right. That's good. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be serious.
Yeah, it can be fun. Like our Blind Level Tech is one of our podcasts, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's technology for the blind. And he has a lot of big corporate people that he has beta tested their products and things. And people ask him all the time, well, what phone do you prefer? Or what, AI, platform do you, these different things. What is most accessible in voiceover?
Speaks to like, in this economy we're in, where it's like information is at your fingertips. I can get it anywhere. Sometimes I just want a curated list from somebody who's like, this is the one to get.
Absolutely.
Like, I remember when I was looking at like microphones for my podcast, there's pages and pages and pages on Amazon. It's like, okay, well, what is a podcaster I trust? What does she use? I just want that. So there is the equivalent of that for your organization to do a lead magnet. So that's like one part of our big strategy this year. I'm very excited about. Another opportunity for you, I think, after like another phase of this, let's talk a little bit about the Social Street team. Because this is something, given your cause area, you have a local element, right? But you also have a national and international element in the sense that your audience is all over. And that means your donors are all over. So Street Teamers is a huge opportunity for you. Talk to me about what you're thinking.
So we actually looked back through, again, because now we can look at our data. And we looked at our podcast guests, and some of them actually are doing really well on social media. They're influencers creators, already. And so they already have this huge following. They're already connected to us, and it's just asking them, and it can be, we had one that she wants us to create the things, and then she'll push it out. But then there was somebody else that said, no, I got this.
Okay. So to give everyone a little bit of an overview, it's where we're borrowing audiences. So you're getting in front of the established audience of a thought leader, influencer, content creator, and they would be the person talking about Aftersight. They would be. And so, yes, there are some influencers that are like, sure, give me the blah, blah, blah to give me some graphics. And then there are creators who are like, that is my world. And it's like, let them fly. Let them do whatever they want.
Absolutely. We had one amazing woman that we have interviewed her actually a couple of times, and she's an influencer. And she has a lot of connections to other influencers. And she was one of the people that said, no, I got this. You know, I met her in Austin at the Blind Travel Summit, and we just hit it off. And so we're going to be doing a lot with her. But she wants to do it. Like, she's excited about what we're doing.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
So a true social street team is not like, I asked this influencer to post about my fundraiser, or like it's this sort of like graspy tight energy. It is a partnership that is mutually beneficial, not because you pay them, but because they're so excited to be affiliated with you, because they're so excited to be part of your movement, part of your mission. And so it should have that feeling to it. So it sounds like you're right on track.
Yes, I'm really excited for the next few months. We have a lot of things that we're going to be rolling out, and then coming out of this conference.
I
even have more. I can't wait to get back to my team and get them motivated and share.
What has resonated most with you from the conference so far? Like, is there anything that you're like, okay, light bulb moment, or at least it's going on the ideas list?
Is keep asking. You can't ask too much. And I've been to several breakout sessions that have kind of said the same thing, is ask minimal 15 times. And which to me sounds crazy.
Sweaty and nervous.
But it's like, how many times do I get asked? Way more than 15 times before I subscribe, or I donate, or I volunteer, or, you know, and it's like, wait a minute, if it's okay for people to do it to me, then it's okay. And then it's okay if they unsubscribe. That part has been hard for my team, because we consider all of our listeners like our family. And you don't want Uncle Joe not to ever see you again, you know.
But Uncle Joe might resubscribe in the future.
Exactly.
And that's what's really interesting, is sometimes people just like take a pause and they come back.
And don't take it personal. They might be going through something, like, you don't know why they're unsubscribing, you know, and it's okay, because if they unsubscribe, you don't want them on the list anyway. And I think that is a really huge takeaway, is be more courageous with the ask more frequently. You know.
Anything else jumping out?
Oh my God, just all the amazing people I've met here. I shared with Christina earlier that I have never in my life, I've been to a lot of conferences. I have put on conferences. I've been behind the scenes. And this one has been the absolute best in accessibility for the blind and low vision. And there's just little things that I've noticed that I'm like, did they do that just for me? Or is it just, no, they did it because it was the right thing to do, and it helps everybody.
Okay, for our event people listening, or people who have the annual gala, who have the auction, and their bread and butter. What are they missing that are in those details?
Oh my God. One, blind people have money and we want to give it to you, but you need to give us the way to give it to you. So it is all the little details, like make sure your app, if you have an app, make sure it's ADA compliant, because guaranteed it will make it more accessible to everybody. So as an example, every breakout session, the deck, their slides are in the app. And I knew that because they told me that, because I asked them to do, you know, I said, I need access to the decks before I show up, because I'm not going to be able to see the screen. Oh, okay. So they built it into the app, but you can also magnify it in there, which normally you can't. And I cannot tell you how many times I've been sitting in sessions where the person next to me is taking pictures of the screen, and I lean over and I'm like, you know, that's in the app. And they're like, what? And I tell them, and they're like, oh my gosh, where were you, you know, a day and a half ago when I started taking pictures? So it helps accessibility. Helps everybody.
And this is
everybody.
I give feedback a lot in the club on this. Is sometimes I'll be looking at an email or a direct mail piece, and I'm like, this looks like 12-point font. This looks like 14-point. Guys, I have 20/20 vision, still-ish. And I'm like, this is uncomfortable for me. 16 points should be your baseline minimum for everyone on anything. And so it's like accessibility is foundationally important for everyone. And that looks like I want to pinch to zoom in. I want to make sure I'm not having, because if I am, those are all friction points and I'm not reading your appeal. I'm not opening the email, or I'm just scrolling past. Or sometimes the other thing I see are the content blocks, that there's no spacing. I call it breathing room in paragraphs. We want that in emails. We want that in direct. We want things bolded. Like those are the points that seem like, do I really need to do this? Is this really necessary? Oh, yes.
And I guarantee you, if I want to donate money, or like if I'm at a silent auction or even a live auction, I cannot tell you how many live auctions I've been to, and it's like they don't audio describe what they're auctioning off, and I'm like, and I can kind of tell maybe it's something I might want. I don't bid on it. I don't know what it is. But if there's somebody up there and says, oh, we have a 6-night stay in Vail, Colorado, and you get to, and they're audio describing
descriptors,
it, my paddle is in the air if it's something I want. So you're missing out on revenue. And when you're doing your campaigns, you don't know if that campaign is going to somebody who's blind or low vision or deaf or hard of hearing. Just be aware.
And the more you're describing it, the more depth you're giving to the story anyway. You're making me think. So my dad is an antique dealer. Like I grew up in the auction world.
Oh, fun.
And so there were these live, kind of like he would do them like quarterly, like live auctions. And they would bring out like a huge piece of furniture. And the level of description. Carved mahogany, gold, gilded. I mean, it was like so detailed. And if he hadn't done that, people wouldn't have seen the value. It would have been like, he's like 17th century. He'd tell a story. Just got this off the container. It sat in customs. As he's just riffing, people are getting more and more and more in love with this random piece of furniture.
People learn differently, right? There might have been a lot of people in the audience that learn audibly. They might have 20/20 vision.
That's right.
But it's you're putting a story to it. And even by describing something, you can people can see it. That's why sighted people listen to audiobooks now. Thank you all for doing that.
You're welcome.
But it's that same thing, right? It's being aware of your audience and be inclusive with your audience.
Yes. So as we look into the next year, maybe let's touch a tiny bit on, because we've touched on some of the strategies we're trying. Let's talk a tiny bit. You do some cool events. Can we talk about those events?
Absolutely. Okay. I live in Colorado. I love hiking and being outside. And the blind and low, and I learned this even as a kid, the blind and low vision community don't get a lot of opportunities because we don't drive. And so if you can't get there with Lyft or Uber or the bus, you don't get those opportunities. And most trailheads are not at an intersection. You can take a taxi or whatever. And so when I came to Aftersight, I have a long history of using outdoor recreation as fundraisers. And it's good for everybody. Absolutely everybody. And so I was there within my first 3 months, we did our first fundraiser, and it was hiking a 14er, which is 14,000 feet. That's a term, Colorado term.
I'm like, oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, 14er. Yeah, a lot of times it's a 14er, and I'm like, I keep forgetting you flatlanders here. But again, when I first brought it up to my board, they're like, oh, I don't know, blind people can't hike. It's like, I was like, oh, yes, we can. And I had 3 months, and I did collaborate with another nonprofit that I had history with. And that I absolutely recommend if you can. It's a lot less work, but it was a huge success. Our community loved it because we provided the guides and transportation, everything, so that it was completely accessible. Our volunteers loved it. Everybody loved it.
Building connection to the cause way more than the chicken gala dinner.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like everyone being outside together. And my favorite is that the board said blind people can't hike. That's my favorite because you're like, now I'm really doing it.
I know. So we've done it every year since, and it just keeps growing because it's getting known in the blind community that it's the one accessible hike out of the year, and it's completely supported.
Yep.
And our donors love it because they get to come, and if they want, it's not mandatory, but I teach them how to be a sighted guide on the trail. And so not only have they donated money to support Aftersight and the work we do, but they get to actually meet somebody that's being impacted and spend the day with them.
Yeah.
And like I said, blind people are awesome. So.
That's right. Oh, that's so good. Well, we have some time. I think we can open it up to some questions.
Sure.
We've got an audience here. If anyone has questions for us, you can just hop up to the microphone. And I think we can talk about fundraising. We can talk about Aftersight. We can talk about any questions, email even that's coming up for anyone. We'll give you guys a second. Otherwise, we will keep riffing. Any questions from the crowd? Yeah.
So my organization, I run a cancer research-focused foundation, and we're a 100% volunteer-based organization.
Okay.
Nobody takes a salary, and so we're all working our day jobs. We all have our families and our personal lives. When we are looking at opportunities to best strategically place people in the organization, whether it's day-to-day tasks or other strategic objectives we have, how do you best place the talent where you make the biggest impact?
How old is your organization?
We're 12 years old.
12 years old?
So we got past the 7.
How much do you raise, or what's your operating budget a year?
100,000.
100K.
Yeah.
Of that 100K, is most of it like unrestricted individuals, grants? What is it?
All unrestricted from individual donors. Our average donation size is like $25.
That have what?
Our average donation size is about $25.
Okay, great. So that makes me happy.
All individuals.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I hear that, I hear it's more grant funded, and I hear a lot of time is being spent applying for the grants and things like that. So I think baseline, I like what you're doing. So you probably have a higher volume of small donors, right? Mm-hmm. Do you have a sense people could give more than they're currently giving? Capacity is higher?
Yeah, I think growth is the end goal.
But upgrading the donors you have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
My advice would be that is where I would spend like 80% of my time. Do you do it when you think about where your time, the organization, where is a lot of your time being spent? Is there like a signature event? Is there like, what's the time suck?
Yeah, we do about one event a year. I would say time suck is probably the administrative side, or the social media, the content creation.
Great, I'm glad you said that, and I would totally let you weigh in too. I wouldn't spend much time on social media unless it is literally fundraising for you.
Okay.
Is it, because what I tend to hear is our social media looks so cool, I really like it, we're putting time into it, and then I say, is it bringing in donations? Well, no. So unless it's bringing in significant donations, I would go and spend more time cultivating the donors you have, and then I would do a sprint campaign. That's. But I want to hear your response, Pen.
Well, we do volunteer appreciation, and kind of for the, and it's not just to get donations from them, even though it is a fundraising event. But we bring in like an ice cream truck. I mean, it's a party.
Yep.
But it's to. And we also bring in some of our listeners, but it's for the volunteers, but we want some of our listeners there so they get to meet them and interact with them. And I'll even invite a couple of our bigger sponsors so that it's sort of like tiered, right? So we have our bigger sponsors, they get to actually meet and see all of our volunteers, or as many as possibly can come. And then those two tiers get to actually meet some of our listeners. And so, and that has been successful. And we do that, like we're actually having one coming up really quick. And we even get some community, where the Lions this year are coming and they're gonna barbecue for us at lunch. But it's just a relaxed joyful afternoon, so that everybody can meet each other, because people give to who they know. They don't give to the org. And so your volunteers will turn into even higher donors.
Yep.
And they will tell their friends about you, like, hey, I volunteer at this place. So you'll get donors, but also possibly your volunteer base will grow.
The other thing is, I want you to start buying your time back. So if admin is keeping you down, that's a $25 an hour solution. The fact that it's all volunteer, no one's taking even maybe a stipend, that's part of the problem. And it's reminding me of something your executive director said on a call recently, where when the executive director doesn't take anything, right? And this can happen in an organization like that. It's not actually setting the organization for long-term success, because there isn't any salary in the budget for when maybe an executive director wants to roll off, retire, et cetera. And so it actually is important that you start having stipends, paying yourself, something like that. So you can buy your time back to go fundraise, to go have some of these more community-based events. So that's where I would take you.
Exactly.
I love that question, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Paige Russell. I am from Cheyenne, Wyoming. I work at Black Dog Animal Rescue. And my question is a little bit about donor data. So I was wondering, is it beneficial to remove constituents entirely if they've been inactive for a certain amount of time? Or should I leave them in my donor CRM forever?
So we're talking about lapsed donors. How lapsed?
So we definitely have donors from when they first entered. So we've been an organization for 20 years. So if they've lapsed in that first 3 years, like they're still in our donor system. We're definitely keeping up to like the 4-year mark. We're still using 4-year lapsed donors as like direct mail recipients. But after that, should I remove them? Should I keep them?
What is your process for that re-engagement from years 1 through 3 to 4?
We'll use direct mailers. So we'll do between 3 or 4 a year. We just moved to a new direct mail system to where a company is helping us to create that direct mail and takes on like more of the process of it. We were doing it ourselves. We started out with 4. Whether we got to 4 within our time was just if we had time for it. So we've moved into a new system and we just started with them. After that, it just becomes an issue of their emails, even if they're inactive or even if they're a lapsed donor, they're still receiving emails from newsletters and from email blasts. And usually that can bring them back in. We've seen as new events happen with varying price points, we see them come back in that way.
So do they get a specific email drip campaign for lapsed donors?
No. They had previously, but we haven't done that in 2 years.
Okay, and then do they get a specific direct mail campaign for lapsed donors?
Yes.
Is it how many mailers over what period of time?
2 to 3 mailers within, I think, 2 weeks.
Okay, and then is there any one-to-one outreach? No one's in trouble.
Yeah. I was thinking. If they donate back, yes, there will be one-to-one outreach. But if they don't, then no.
I'm trying to think of like a metaphor and it's not quite coming, but you really do want, this is similar to email list cleaning in general. You want to add enough friction so they take action. Whether the action is, this ain't for me anymore and I'm unsubscribing or I'm not going to re-engage, or the action is, yes, I want to stay on. Yes, I want to engage. And in order to do that in today's society, which is very distracted, you have to turn the volume way up on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like strategy first before getting rid of them and getting them out of your database, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, we're going through this exact thing right now, and we have over 600 people that they're either lapsed donors, but they're also people who have not even opened like the last 12 emails.
Yep.
And it makes me terrified to just dump them. So we are doing like, they're going to get hit with 3 emails a week for a month.
Yep.
And if they don't, and they're pretty aggressive emails.
Like we're trying to create some pressure.
Yeah.
Right.
But what's also is to have somebody in where my executive director and I have sat down and looked through the list, and it's actually not as bad as we thought, because some of them were like, oh, that's not their email anymore.
Yeah, some of it is definitely like bad.
To clean
donor,
it, to clean
donor
it up.
upkeep, yes.
But also the phone calls. So
That's
especially if they've been a significant donor and whatever that level is for you, call them.
Okay.
And if the phone doesn't work and they're not opening the emails, then take them out of the database.
Yeah, there's the answer.
But
I'm like, hang on,
sometimes
write them a
just
note.
a phone call. And also with that phone call, it's a thank you. Thank you for supporting us in the past. We would love to see you re-engage.
Yep.
Do you want to stay on? Like, we don't want to bother you, you know?
Yes. And right. If something has changed, totally fine. It's that. We want them to self-select, right? I have a client who hopped on a call recently, and she said she had inherited a lot of lapsed donors from the previous executive director, and many of them are high capacity major donors. And she has been reaching out to one for over 3 years. Not all the time, but working it. She got the meeting a few weeks ago. He finally responded. And it was like, I don't know. My point is, I don't know that you delete them until it's done, until you've really squeezed the juice. So for me, it would be a 3-pronged strategy. I'd probably go email first, because that's something, with Penn, what she's doing, once she writes a 3-part lapsed donor email series, that's an automation. That's a journey that just runs in the background. We just take people, we stick them in there.
Yeah.
Direct mail, 3 isn't bad over a short period, but direct mail is it's very similar to print advertising. So if I run an ad in a magazine and I'm like, where are my clients? I ran one ad. No one really, it didn't do anything yet.
Right.
Like a lot of publishers will tell you need to commit to at least a year of ads. And so it's sort of similar to that with direct mail. Like you just need a lot more touch points. So that's why I'm glad that Penn mentioned the one-to-one, because nothing will beat that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would look at it that way. And then last but not least, when you get to the point and you're like, it's time to remove so-and-so, export it, back it up, make sure you have everything you want. We can run ads to that same person later.
Okay.
So it's still juicy data in the future.
Great.
Create a lookalike audience, something like that.
Awesome. Thank you so
Great
much.
question. Hi.
Hi. My name's Cody Lawson. I'm with Bloomerang, and I've kind of a technical question around alt text with emails. And I was wondering if you wouldn't mind kind of talking about what alt text is with emails and how that can enhance your the stories that nonprofits would tell to people with low vision.
And maybe to like when to put alt text or where.
Do you put it in every
I love this
image?
question. Like,
if you do put it in an image, how much detail do you use?
Yeah.
I really appreciate your opinions on that.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking this question. If you put in any kind of image, and an image might even be a button or a checkbox. Make sure when it is a checkbox, make sure that the alt text says checkbox. If it's a button, put that it's a button. You cannot put too much in on alt text. So, and then if you're putting in an image or a logo, what I say is close your eyes and picture what you're going to describe, and that's how you describe it.
Nice.
Because you're not looking at it and go, like I do I'm really doing a ton of hike photos right now. I don't go, well, the sky is blue and the mountain takes up 3/4 of the background, blah, blah, blah. No. You want emotion with your text. So it's a child holding a white cane with pigtails with a mountain view in the background. You don't need to describe every single detail, but you need to give enough information. So just like when you look at an image, you're not aesthetically looking at it, you're feeling the emotion of what that image is. And that's how you want to describe it. So like even like there's a man smiling, like that's fine, but what's better is they have a joyful expression on their face. And then, but again, you can't do too much alt text because, and even with logos, a lot of people don't do alt text on logos. Well, you've probably paid a lot of money to brand. I want to know what that brand is so that I can tell my friends what your brand is. How creative is it? You know, what are the colors? What are the designs? And again, some people may they'll be going through with their screen reader and they'll get to your logo. I don't want to know what their logo is, and they move on. But I'll tell you, there's plenty of people out there that will stop and replay that alt text on your logo to make sure they got it in their head. Because it's just like you, when you're scanning a document or scanning an email or even a newspaper ad or whatever is going to catch your eye, that's what you want the most information on. But you don't know ahead of time what that's going to be. You can look at a page and pick and choose what you see. Well, it's the same thing for somebody who's blind or low vision. We want to pick and choose what we see. But if there's no alt text on there, we're going to move on to the next company, move on to the next org.
Could we use ChatGPT, Claude, something like that, if
you can.
If we're like, I don't know what to put in this one.
Yes.
Or
and
what would you advise?
Some of them are better than others.
Yeah.
If you're not creative or you don't have the time, sure, let whatever platform you're doing. But please check it.
Yeah.
Just like anything else with AI, check it.
That's right. Check that it didn't hallucinate, that there was somebody playing a guitar in the picture and there's no...
Right, exactly. Make sure it's accurate.
I think you just gave everyone a good tip, though, in general, of how to tell stories.
Yes.
So instead of like a sterile story about some mountains and, of like the little girl in pigtails, like very specific. Those are your stories for your emails, too.
They are, because when you see it visually, it's triggering.
It's creating a neural pathway.
It is, exactly.
It's creating connection, and you're going to be more top of mind.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
Pen, this has been so fun.
It has been.
Thank you. Where can everyone hang out with you, find you online?
Well, on social media, it's The Blind Chick. I'm on all the social media. And then, feel free to check me out at Aftersight, aftersight.org. You can email me. I'm an open book pretty much, Penn, Penn, at aftersight.org.
Awesome. Thank you for today.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Hey, High Achiever, I know your sights are set on ambitious, world-changing goals. In the Purpose and Profit Club group coaching program, you can get the support, motivation, and strategy to accelerate your impact. I like to say it's where the inner work meets big impact and big funding. Go to splendidcourses.com/waitlist and you will be first to be notified when we open up doors, and you'll get special bonuses when you join our waitlist. See you inside.